We are joined by an award-winning agripreneur with a focus on vertical farming. Please help me welcome Johan van Rooyen.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Johan van Rooyen, and I'm an award-winning entrepreneur in the field of agriculture. Over the last 3 years, I've spent my time building a six-figure indoor vertical farming in the Northwest, focusing on microgreens, leafy greens, and even edible flowers. However, before we get started, I just want to tell you about how we got started and the journey we took. I come from a small town in the Eastern Cape of Humansdorp. To give you an idea how small it is, we got our first KFC when I was 18 years old, and that was the only store in the town. So we started in COVID, and we saw the problem was like all the industries were forced to shut down, but one was forced to stay open. Agriculture is something we need on a daily basis. No matter what, people need to eat. So, with a love of business, I've started to seek a sustainable solution. And we started small. Both me and my business partner were NISFA students, so money was tight. So we gathered what we could between the two of us, and we started our business in our students' accommodation. A few weeks later, after our plans were started, we got our first client. And we were so excited. But it's never as easy as that. Between our first and our second client, we had 20 people tell us, no, your business is not going to work, or you're too small, or, yeah, there's always a lot of reasons. But then we got our second client, then we got our third client, and before we saw it, we had a huge business. We applied for a business competition, the NVE Leopard's Lair Award, and we won our first prize money, and more importantly, we got the mentorship from the Northwest University to help us grow, move into larger offices, and even build our first vertical farm. Today, we are the largest suppliers of microgreens in the Northwest Province, supplying large clients like Pick n Pay, Spar, even franchises like Mug n Bean and John Dory's. And we've recently entered in a partnership with one of the largest strawberry farms in South Africa to build an indoor vertical farm capable of producing more than half a ton of microgreens until a ton of microgreens each and every week. Before, we were only to be able to produce that in an entire year. So, what are microgreens? Well, microgreens are vegetable seeds grown from seed but harvested after 7 to 12 days instead of growing the vegetable to the adult size. Now, this has several advantages. Because we grow it indoors under lights, we can control almost every aspect of the growing period. For example, we can produce the entire year through, regardless of weather conditions, rainfall, or change in seasons. And the best part is, our produce grows between 7 to 14 days. Because it's under lights, we can control almost everything. For example, if your produce grows too fast, we can use yellow lights to slow it down. If we want to grow it faster, we use purple or green lights. And we can even change the flavor by using purple and blue lights to make the flavor more intense or less intense, depending on our client's needs. Not only that, microgreens are extremely nutritious, having 4 to 40 times the nutrition value of full-grown vegetables. Not only that, we can use almost less than 10% of the water used by traditional agriculture to produce the same number of produce without the need for any pesticides or fertilizer, as everything is indoors and is monitored and controlled what goes in and out into the building. The problem with traditional agriculture is that global warming changed the weather patterns. For example, areas that were usually very dry now receive large amounts of water, and areas that used to receive a lot of water don't get the water that's required. Couple that with the increased population growth. For example, Africa will be the continent with the largest population by as soon as 2050, leaving the reliance on weather to be a big issue if you in search for a stable and secure food supply. Couple that with labor-intensive industries or even large-scale machines like tractors and stuff that need it, makes it very large for small-scale farmers to start and grow a business, leaving it an inefficient and unsustainable solution for the future. That's why I believe vertical farming is the future of agriculture in South Africa. We can grow more than a ton of microgreens in a building no bigger than an RDP house. For example, our growing room is only 15 square meters big, but we can produce every week almost a half a ton of microgreens. It's incredibly environmentally friendly as there are no pesticides or fertilizer used in the produce. There's no pests because of the building being controlled. You have to sanitize, you have to put on different clothes just to enter the room where microgreens are grown. Because it's so cheap and easy to get started, there are no limits to what microgreens and indoor vertical farming is capable. You can produce a large number of fresh produce using very limited resources, without a lot of water, even a lot of money to get started. And the growing need for vegan produce and organic vegetables makes it a very lucrative and growing business. So, just before we end it, a few key things I've learned over the last few years growing our business into a six-figure business is start small. Take that risk and that first step of just starting. Then you're already further than any other person just because you were willing to take the risk and start. And take smart risks. If you have the opportunity to apply for business competitions or anything that gives you the opportunity to get your name out there, take it. And you'll surprise yourself mostly. And also find somebody that's a good mentor. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. Learn from other people, and more importantly, learn from other people's mistakes, because you learn more from your failures than you do from your success. And lastly, I think the most important thing, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, is write down your goals. Write what you want to be in 15 years or 10 years, and write how you're going to get there. Because as soon as you start writing down the steps you're going to take to get to your dream, you'll be surprised how fast you achieve your goals. We started 3 years ago. Today, we're busy building a new factory in the Eastern Cape, able to produce a ton of greens each and every week, regardless of the weather, regardless of the rainfall, employing more and more people, and in the end, supporting South Africa in growing into what we are really capable of being. And everybody here is capable of getting there. It's just a matter of taking the first step. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Johan. So we have a question. How does food keep its nutrients when you grow it so fast?
Okay, so the key in microgreens for how it is so nutritious is it doesn't consume any extra chemicals or nutrition from the ground. It only uses the nutrients that are naturally occurred in the seed. So for example, seeds are more nutritious than the full-grown vegetable. And by harvesting just after the stage that they have used the seed's nutrients, it leaves all the nutrients contained in the plant that is still growing.